I call this an invisible holographic principle in the riddle of the multiverse. And this is based on a lot of my ideas, but I'll include in the description a link to Dr. Juan Martin Maldecena's um, uh, Institute of Advanced Studies at Princeton, I think, or something else, or I think it's the Parameter Institute. His lecture, YouTube lecture on the meaning of space-time. So this once again is called an invisible holographic principle and the riddle of the multiverse. And I'll include a link again to Dr. Juan Martin Maldecena's, a key player in the holographic principle, to his lecture at 3 months old at this current time at the Parameter Institute on the meaning of space-time. So here's number one. The inverse of invisibility is a holodeck. Turn a holodeck inside out, you have an invisible object. Turn an invisible object outside in, you have a holodeck again. There is an asymmetry between invisibility and holodecks, though. If you froze the light coming from an invisible object and turned it outside in, it could be any holodeck. It could represent any holodeck, an invisible environment turned outside in, an invisible object turned outside in, with its light frozen and then released again. It would produce any sort of holodeck you can think of, because the outside world is infinitely varied. But if you froze the light from a holodeck and turned it inside out, it can only match up to only one outer environment, because the holodeck would have to match up necessarily to blend into an outside world. And there would be only one for that frozen light holodeck. Where are the other environments to restore the symmetry? I believe it would be the multiverse, for the infinite variety that the holodeck could match up to once turned into an invisible object. It would have to necessarily include the multiverse, the infinite multiverse. And this is just a low-tech proof of the inverse relationship. The 18 and 26 viewing angle low-tech cloaked holodeck photographic portal. This shows, if you can't read that, don't worry about it. The top diagram is a box, a lenticular box is what I call it, but it's not truly lenticular. It's based on the predecessor photographic technique that led to lenticular technology. And that diagram illustrates how you convert a box 26 viewing angle, well, 18 at this point, and the bottom picture shows the photographic proofs of the Owensboro downtown riverfront being turned to low-tech, from what low-tech invisibility on one side to a low-tech holodeck on the other. Low-tech photographic. These are the corner angle views. Those make up the rest of the 26 viewing angles. This would be an 18 viewing angle. This would complete the 26 viewing angles, and that's the resulting photographic portal at the bottom picture and illustration. Number two, the three practical forms of invisibility. The three practical forms of applied invisibility that I conceived of are adaptive, dual adaptive, and televisual. Well, first let me show that this is a basic light interface conceptual illustration, and the outside invisibility is inverse related to the inverse holodeck that's produced from the outside light. The byproduct of invisibility is a holodeck. and they're inverse forms of each other. You turn one outside in, you have a holodeck. You turn the holodeck inside out, you have an invisible object. These two different regions. Okay. The three practical forms of applied invisibility that I conceive of are adaptive, which is this, using the light interface concept, a craft, dual adaptive, puppet interface, dual adaptive camouflage, invisible suit. If you can't read that, that's cool. That's okay. But just look at the image. And then the third kind is mirror world, system of interface, televisual, telepresent portals. If you can't read that, then that's okay too. Just know that that's a televisual, telepresent portal. Two portals that would connect. Okay, this bottom image, this bottom third part, there's more types of invisible states than the three practical forms that I conceived of. Dark matter and black holes are two. An invisible holographic principle could better describe the entropy and the completeness of spacetimes at a distance. That's a wormhole. It's two spacetimes at a distance through entanglement, which is the tensor form here. Building on Landauer, Rolf Landauer, big name in information theory. Building on Landauer's principle of information, wherever spacetime disappears at one location, it must reappear at another through entanglement. Space is information. Spacetime. Landauer's principle is yet another form of invisibility, where two random spacetimes create a coherent whole. And this is my thing that I always post. The invisible bound and the holographic bound on the interior. Wherever space itself disappears, it must reappear somewhere else, because all space is information. And that interior region is translated between two black holes, which is a tensor diagram in the middle. And these are the two black holes. And those black holes are connected through a throat that stretches to the multiverse. That's the fourth and last part of this. But this goes all the way back to here again. Where are the other environments to restore the asymmetry? The multiverse. My idea of an invisible holographic principle requires the existence of a multiverse to complete the symmetry, to restore the symmetry between invisibility and holodecks that are inverse forms of each other on both the low-tech and the high-tech conceptual levels. Well, thanks a lot.